Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I have got the Shielded Prepper with me today. How you doing, Jesse?
Hey, I'm well, Chris. I'm so pumped to do this with you today. Thank you for being who you are.
Well, we have got a really good show that's going to show you that the housing market will eventually crash, as they all do. This comes after yesterday. I talked to a man that I'm teaching how to weld pipe. Actually made a welding video. It's on the welding channel, be up today. And he's selling and thinking about buying. And there's a lot of people that are there. They're in that spot. And I wanted to talk to Jesse about it because he's actually a real estate agent and a very successful one. And he's been doing it for a long time. So we're going to kind of look at some charts and prove and show kind of what's going on. And I'd like to start off with one of my favorite proverbs and one of your favorite proverbs, Jesse.
Yeah. You go first. Don't you use mine.
Okay. Well, it's actually mine, but yours says the same thing. It's found in there twice.
Yeah, we have two of them.
Okay. Well, today I want to share is a little different. It's Proverbs 21:5. Because the plans of the diligent lead to profits as surely as haste leads to poverty. So the plans of the diligent lead to profit. Haste leads to poverty.
Haste.
What a word. Just finish that up with. The hardest thing to do right before a recession, right before, is patience. That patience to just wait, analyze, study, and pray for discernment. Just because we're getting closer.
Do you feel the pressure? Like, do you feel like that we are getting closer and it is starting to stir a huge group or is starting to feel that? And I couldn't agree more. It's the haste. It's the quick moves right now that could really hurt us if we choose to run into those quick moves, the hasty moves. And we were just talking about that before we jumped on here. Proverbs 22, verse 3. This is you smile because we know first time we met, we talked about this, didn't we?
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah.
Because I thought you had the verse wrong.
You thought I had the verse.
I said, that's not what you said it was. It's Proverbs 27:12.
Yeah, that's right. And 22:3 says the same thing. And this is our channel's scripture. And it says that a prudent man foreseeth evil and hideth himself. And the simpleton passes by and is punished. And the prudent, when I hear the word prudent, I think of somebody who is planned, who is intentional, that is looking down the road 6 months, a year, 5 years. They're looking to ensure that they're making wise decisions so that when they see evil or danger in our marketplace, in our world, they hide themselves. And hiding, the word hide is not connected to fear or running. It has to do with quietness. They pull back. They start to look at what things do they have to get done now, that if they get it done now will be a blessing for them in the future. The simpleton passes by and says, no, it's going to be okay. And they're punished. And punishment is actually a lesson. I've experienced being the simpleton. I'm still learning that. And let's teach as many folks as we can how not to be simple-minded.
Okay, so with that being said, the
Amen.
U.S. housing,
I said, amen. Go.
With that being said, the U.S. housing market is currently overvalued and home buyer demand has collapsed. So we've got high prices with low demand. Okay. Prices have remained resilient. Does this mean the crash won't happen, Jesse? While you're talking, I'm going to put a chart up.
It is an uncomfortable experience right now to be a real estate agent. I know we have many different markets, so I can only speak to mine. We chatted about yours. Yet right now we are seeing a massive contraction in velocity of sales, and we're probably going to talk on that. Yet there is inflated home prices right now, and people are fighting to get into something. They're fighting to get into something, and they're willing to pay right up the nose in interest rates and really high home prices.
So we're going to be looking at some charts off of Reventure Consulting. He has done a very, very good job with this.
He is great.
I would encourage people to check him out because look at look at that nosebleed section, and then it comes down. It has this, hopium,
Yep.
and now the 23 housing downturn, home prices down 0.9% year over year in June 23, reflecting the start of an annual home price decline. So now we've got, I'm going to take that down. So we've got home prices declining, right? And this, we didn't talk about this before, but as these home prices decline, these people, like over here in Austin, we're about 5 hours away, Austin, Texas, has grown nutty. There's people there that had a house that's worth, they bought it a couple years ago, worth $400,000 or $500,000. Now it's worth close to $1 million.
Yep.
And they are pushing these HELOCs like crazy. We're seeing signs on the side of the road that said, pay for your wedding or take a vacation with a HELOC. So you can get yourself a HELOC and pay for your vacation while your home prices are up here. But what happens, Jesse, when the home prices come down and people still owe? They still owe that up there, and it's on an arm. It's not a fixed rate. It's a variable rate.
It's variable. HELOCs are variable. They're not going to be fixed. Oh, depending on how you locked it in. And you're right. And I know lots of people that have HELOCs already open, sitting there as an emergency just in case. And the problem with that, and I've told many of this, and you know this, that if home values plummet, they will shut that down. They'll cut it off. You will not have access to it. If it's in the bank, it's theirs. It's theirs. Yet if you take it out, you got to start paying the interest on that money. And if our home prices come down, it is going to be highly problematic. And we saw this in 2008. And I can kind of remember, I wasn't selling homes in 2008 like we talked about. Yet, boy, have we learned so much about what's coming.
What I did take from 2008 was about 10 years later. 8, 9, 10 years later, I started learning how to acquire rental properties, and I learned from the people that just look like rock stars because they bought their rental properties in around 2000, after 2010, 2011. Because you'll see in a second, I'll throw that chart back up. See right there, that was about 2005, 2006, okay? So we very well could be in that area when we were up here. And it really got bad. After 2008, it came all the way down here. And the people that were buying rental properties in here really crushed it. And that's the people I learned from. And I've been kind of waiting. I kept buying rental properties knowing I wasn't getting that deal. I wasn't getting set up. I was cash flowing, but it wasn't like they were, it was nothing like that.
Yeah.
So I was buying, okay, if everything stayed okay, but we sold, everything is turned. We sold them.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking for that dip. I'm not looking forward to it. And I don't wish this on anybody, but somebody's got to be there.
You're being patient and you're being prudent about it, and you've studied and you've taught many people, and you're not withholding knowledge. Wisdom is like lending to many and not borrowing. It's like lending to many nations, the wisdom that you've learned. And you're right. And those that are watching right now, it is a patience cycle. And then there's some pressure where moves have to happen. Sales have to happen. They don't drop off. I mean, you can look at this chart. They don't go to zero. They just it's just a big grenade, and we want to take advantage of the grenade where it's coming.
And if there's nobody there to take advantage of it and buy them up, who gets to buy them? Who gets to take over? The people that we do not, the few that want you to eat bugs, have nothing, rent everything. That puts more power in their hand. A lot of people think, all you want is money. All you talk about is money. Money is power. That's how you're able to tell the world what you are going to do. You and your people we're going to do this because we can buy this property and we can build this business. If you don't have anything, you're just subject to whatever the few want.
Well, and there's many that are like us, Chris, They're business owners. They work for themselves, or tradespeople that have their own businesses. And we don't have the luxury or the covering of some large corporation to potentially establish our retirement. We have to carve out our own future, and real estate is a powerful vehicle. And right now, why we're so focused on it, there's a great quote that says, what you focus on expands. So the things that we give our attention to expands in our minds. Like, you're learning charts right now. What you're focusing on, you're going to gain knowledge and information with. In real estate, if we're focusing on the investment side and understanding the cycles, this grows in our head, and we should be choosing this type of wisdom right now. It's very important to know.
And guys, don't be a victim of logic. Logic has nothing to do with the stock market, housing prices, all that. That's why I want to show you these charts, because they don't lie. This is how it goes. Here's another one. Inventory of single family houses for sale. It's just dropped off a cliff. So we've got people that would probably like to have their first single family home or have one, in the future. And now we've got a lower inventory. It's actually 50% fewer homes for sale compared to the long-term average. So, Jesse, what have you seen in your real estate comings and goings about this?
This is a perfect chart to describe the wave that's coming. Why we're seeing low inventory is sellers are freaking out. They have a low interest rate. They do desire to move up, move down, move laterally. They have these desires like our family does, and they are calculating. It's almost like becoming a slave to your home. You could make this change. You absolutely could. Yet if you choose to do that, you know that the pain for making that choice right now is significant. This is why our inventory is so low. Many sellers who desire to sell will not, because they are locked into a home that is a protective covering for them. And the buyers that are looking, they're paying really high prices because they have to. They have to. Otherwise, they're stuck renting, or they're in a different situation. Yet, think about those moving for jobs, military PCS, divorce, death, financial ruin. There's that group that is going to keep home prices high while inventory stays low. Supply and demand.
And I can't wait to get into what you're leveraging with kindness and how it's helping your business. We'll get into that towards the end, what you're doing to help these home buyers and sellers move and get and do what they need to do, because there's a lot of people that are starting to hurt, and we're just getting started.
Yeah.
We're just getting started. So anything you can do to try to help will actually help you too. Can't wait.
I've got some great technical things for those that may be looking to buy a home or even sell a home. I've got some things that you should be thinking about right now, for sure, from a business or from a realtor standpoint.
So chart 4 is risky mortgages are a concern in the housing market. Many homeowners can barely afford their mortgage and property tax payments. We're going to talk about taxes in a second. The debt to income ratio for home buyers is approaching 40%, which is higher than the last housing bubble. And you can see that we've already surpassed the last one.
This is going to be so massive. This is going to be so massive. It's uncomfortable to even look at these dad-bling charts, Chris. I see this and I don't even think about myself. I think about the millions of people domestically here in the United States that are going to go through something super painful. Super painful. And it's sad. It's super sad.
We're starting to see, if you listen to Fox News or any of the legacy media, how many jobs are created and how good everything's doing. And that's why you have these melt ups. That's why. So I'm learning charts, right? And when they go to a certain spot, you can tell they're overbought. They're, it's like, wow, it's got to come down. And I even shorted a few times, and it's not coming down. It's in the nosebleed section. I'm getting phone calls from people saying, hey, these stocks are doing good and this stock's doing good. It's like, and you want to tell them, hey, we're overbought. I would never buy something expensive, hoping it to go more expensive. It's
Yep.
like, wait, that's where that patience kicks in.
Yep. Yep.
But is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, there's as we're talking, there's this stream of consciousness that you and I have, and I'm having these sidebars in my head right now, and I'm thinking about this one particular group of buyers that we just pressed the brakes for a while. And most real estate agents, it's hard for them, or sales professionals. I think about automotive and some of these other industries that are being hit real hard too. They still have to provide for their family, so they're really intentional about doing a great job for their clients. Yet I just had this conversation day before yesterday with a client of mine, new school teachers. They just graduated from university, just got full-time contracts with the district that they're in. And we've been out looking for homes. They're approved up to like 550. We're looking in the 400 to 425 range. And in the area that I'm in right now, that's a major starter home. 400,000 is a major starter home in certain areas. And we pressed pause, and they said, we're just going to continue living with our parents. And I said, do that for at least the next 6 months. Let's keep watching. And everything we were doing was falling apart. The inspections were coming back grenades. We were asking for tens of thousands that the sellers said yes to, in buying down of interest rates and fixing electrical panels and rewiring homes. And sellers also know that the market's contracting, and they are making moves right now to ensure that they're able to get out to move on to their next place. So there's this balancing of the scales that's happening right now. And these charts are showing the balance is all off kilter. Yet in the market, we're starting to see the signs of where the scales are going to start to balance. And then pretty soon the leverage is going to be in the hands of the buyers, not in the sellers. The sellers got their unfair share and their pound of flesh the last 3 years. They could ask for anything and get it. Stacks of offers. It's changing, and it's changing quickly.
It puts me in mind of a chart Mike Maloney did, and it was how many ounces of gold would it take to buy a house in the 1930s, and then how it's changed.
Yeah, tell me about that. That's great.
Yeah, so I wish I had it. Next time we do something, I will.
Yeah.
But it was a small amount of gold would buy, no, actually, it was a large amount of gold would buy a nice house. And then it changed, small would buy the same house. And now that's where we're at. A small amount of gold will buy a small house. But when it flips, and it has over the last 100 years, you can tell moving into something hard, letting the housing market go down and do its thing, and then swap that wealth over.
Just swap it
into your house.
Yep.
That's the power you have with precious metals. And I'm not here to talk about precious metals, but it's like that with other assets too. So point is, it's going to change. There's nothing that's happened. There's, I've been talking about this housing market crash for almost 2 years. And it's just a slow motion train wreck. It's just slower. Real estate's probably the slowest moving asset ever, especially with everything they do to try to keep it pumped up.
We look at these charts, Chris, not to cut you off, yet when we see these trends going down, yet you look at the time span, it's years. So it's really important that as we're working on this, that we're anticipating years of a declining economy. It could take a sharp nosedive in a period of time. It's going to take years to recover. How long? We don't know. In 2008, it really didn't start recovering in, 5 years, 6 years, something like that, before it started to come back. This one might be faster. I know Travis, the economic ninja, says that this is going to be a depression, yet it'll be short-lived compared to the Great Depression. Yet we don't know. And this information is uncomfortable to look at because we're seeing the tells, the little markers that are showing us that this is happening in front of us live right now.
Look at this chart. Median sales price of homes.
Gosh.
Home prices went up on a seasonal basis in the spring of 2007 and 2008. Just went for a rip. And then it made that little check, and then it went down more.
Yeah.
So it seems like That's what we're looking at. We're looking at if we're not at the tippy top, we've taken a dip and we're making that little check where the last few people are going to be able to get out. And guys, this could take a few more months.
Yeah.
But what does it matter if you've got plans? Just think through all this. And I encouraged the young man yesterday. And like I do a lot of times, if you need to move and you got to go, campers are on sale. I lived in one for over 2 years. You can do it. And it was wild. I mentioned it. Stacy sold everything. I came home and everything was just gone. I was like, oh man, I got to get camper.
You're like, great.
Yeah, I was out working and I came back. I was like, oh man, I really opened my mouth, didn't I? So,
you're like, man, Christina, my wife, moves the same pace. Like say, hey, we should think about moving. She'll box up so much stuff. And we just stick it in a corner because if that happens, we're going.
That's because you do what you say, Jesse. That's cool.
Right.
That's a cool thing, man. If you start doing what you say, people will start to listen and they'll get worried. If they don't completely agree with you, they'll start giving you some funny looks. But, that's really neat. We've got one last chart to show, and then I want to get into how what you're doing for your clients.
Okay.
We've got 01, 03, all the way up to 05. And then it broke. And this is the home sales in America. And we're at the same. It looks the same to me. This was a different crisis that had to do with how people were getting these loans. If you could fog a mirror, you could get a house.
Yeah.
And, we suffered this stimulus. And now here we are, this little thing. And we've got this last little thing. See what happens after that little check? There's a check there, down, check, down. You got a check here, down. There's a check here. I think afterwards, the next video we make, this thing might be down here. It might look similar to this.
This is going to be a great indicator to watch. This one specifically. This is about the velocity of home sales. We are seeing a huge contraction in velocity. So we're talking about homes for sale, so that keeps the demand high or prices high. Yet this one is showing the heartbeat of what's actually happening. And as these home sales in America contract, what we're going to, and I'll just give you an example here. There's a broker that I spoke with. It runs a large brokerage. I can't remember exactly how many agents. Yet I was asking him, hey, how's the health of the brokerage? And this is a newer brokerage. He says, great. I said, how are pendings this year to last year? And he says, they're the same, maybe a little better. I said, oh, that's excellent. Great. So I'm listening. And I said, how many more agents do you have now? Or how many agents do we have now? And he said, 140 in the brokerage. And I said, how many did you have this time last year? And he said, we were about 80 or 90. I said, wow, that's awesome. You've had great recruiting. There's a lot of real estate agents here. Yet they're doing the same pendings. Add more agents, do the same pendings. So that shows me that there's a contraction of at least 40% in velocity of sale. And it's requiring more real estate agents to do the same volume because of this chart.
Okay, one more thing on this chart, and I'll get off of it. But you see this trend line right here? You see where that held resistance? It held resistance here. It held it pretty good there. It stopped on it, and then it checked up, and now we're at that resistance. If we break that resistance or win, the next resistance is right here, right at the 3.7. And when we might blow through that, I don't know. But it's just the charts don't lie. I really appreciate Nick for putting that together.
Yeah, he's great, by the way. I mean, he's an awesome wealth of information.
He really is. So I hope we've presented kind of the layout, things to watch. This is never financial advice. Housing, there's no telling. I mean, they could do a 40-year mortgage and that would be the ultimate stimulus for housing. Mm-hmm. That would really boost asset prices, and there are a lot of people that would never ever own a home. Or they never get it paid off for sure.
Yeah.
Tell me about what you're doing for your clients, because I thought this was really cool as things start to cool off and people really need to move.
Yep. Okay, so leverage right now in our market is putting homes under contract. There's still competition. If the homes are priced right or slightly below market, they're getting a lot of offers still, and they're being bid up. So strategy-wise for buyers is getting a home under contract is at the right home. We can talk about the factors there. Yet the right home under contract gives us leverage, and here's why. So if we're representing buyers, we put it under contract, we have the home inspected, and then we throw in a nuclear bomb in the response to the inspection. And we ask for the sellers to fix a lot of the essential systems, and it's full boat: roofs, all of the heating systems, cooling systems, plumbing, floors, and we're going right at it for the jugular. And then we're looking to drive the price down another 8 to 10% over what we're under contract on. And we're finding success. So if you have a real estate agent right now that is not willing to push the buttons of the sellers and really be aggressive, find a new real estate agent. You must find one that's willing to push that request. Sellers are going to be making moves on that, and we're already seeing it now. Sellers, if you're having a home to sell, some of the greatest value that you can give a buyer so that they don't come in and wreck you on an inspection is make sure that your systems in your home are put together and you're not trying to sell a deferred home right now for a really high price. Buyers are super savvy to this right now. Don't goof around. So if you know that you have a hot water tank that has to be replaced, replace it ahead. Get your forced air system serviced. Maybe have a roof certification if you have that in your area where you can show a report saying the roof's healthy for another 10 years or something. I'm not sure all markets. Yet right now, it's super important if you're looking to sell your home, make it as turnkey as possible. That'll make you yield you the most amount of money right now. Turnkey, because buyers are squeaking in. They're squeaking in, and be ready to pay additional points to buy down a buyer's interest rate. It's happening here. I'm asking for it on every transaction that's applicable, and we're finding great favor with it because lenders are able to buy these rates down so buyers can be purchasing in the 5s rather than in the dabbling 7s, paying the highest average income or highest average purchase price of a home right now. So these are huge value adds for buyers. So just get prepared for those things. Have a home that's turnkey, be willing to pay and help towards their buy down of their interest rates or their closing costs. And for buyers, make sure you're asking for the kitchen sink too. I mean, just fill it up with everything you're asking for. Hey, aim at nothing. You hit it every time. Ask for it.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you for coming on. I think this is some really good information. I hope people stayed all the way to the end. If you made it to the end, put hashtag patience. Hashtag patience. That's what it's going to take to get to where we need to be and start buying and changing people's lives. That's the point. That's the point of me trying to figure these charts out. I really desire for the community to not be bag holders as the market goes down. You know, that's why I decided to start reading charts and trying to not be the bag holder anymore. And that includes real estate.
Yeah.
I've already done that. I've wrote it to the bottom, and you have to wait so long. And this crash very well could. I mean, it could take half your life or all of your life for it to come back to these all-time highs.
It absolutely could.
Yeah. Yep. And you know, and there's no telling, it could go up from here. We don't know for sure, but patience.
Yep.
All right, Jesse, I'm going to let you send us off.
Hey, everybody, thank you so much for being committed and being part of this family, La Familia. This family of prepared, focused people, we have to stay together because the percentage of those of us that think like us is low. Those that are in our family, they don't think like us. Let us encourage you. Let us stimulate your mind and give you things to focus on. It'll build you up. We will sharpen you like iron sharpens iron. And you help us too. Chris, I have a lot of subscribers on our channel that came from yours, and they are amazing.
Oh,
they're amazing.
I say that all the time. Salt of the earth is
salt of the earth
contents, and you can get it in the contents, in the comments, and you can get in there and make friends. And then when you do go to one of these meetups, like we're going to in Iowa and the Silver Symposium, you'll already know that person. You don't even have to know. When you meet them, it's going to be like me and Jesse when we met. I knew we were going to be friends for a long time, and I told him that.
That's right.
You know, and the relationship has grown, and I've really enjoyed it. Guys, go check out Jesse's channel. He's a wealth of knowledge, as you can see on real estate and many others.
Handsome too, boy. You know, it's humble. No.
I was supposed to let you have the last word.
No, that's okay. That was perfect. Giving me a chance to say handsome, humble, and a little chubby. I love flannel. The things we focus on are the things that expand a prepared mind. We spend a lot of time in scripture as well as in current events and other prepping information. So just know that we are, Chris and I specifically, and many inside this Ninja Nation, this nation, we're looking to sharpen each other so that we have eyes to see and ears to hear, because what's coming in the future is for a prudent person, a prepared person.
All
Don't
right,
pass
guys.
by and be simple.
Have an awesome day. We'll see you later.